Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another Disney cruise related video. Today we are talking all about dining on the Disney Dream. So this is the ship that I have been on and I did a 3-night very maritime Bahamian cruise. So I will talk a little bit about my experience with the food and the restaurants and stuff like that, but also I'll be going through just like all of the options and where it would cost you additional versus where it's included. So without further ado, let's get started. So if I'm looking down at my notes because there's no way I'd remember all of this. So first is the main dining. So this is the main dining rotation. This is where you're eating dinner throughout the duration of your cruise unless you've booked something else, which we'll get to after. So there's 3 restaurants. So if you're on a 3-night, you would eat at each restaurant once. And if you're on a 4-night, you would eat at all of the restaurants once and then one restaurant an additional time. So the first one is Animator's Palette. If you want to know like what type of cuisine or like examples of, I'm gonna try and remember what I ate, but if you're looking for like pictures of menus and stuff, you can find that. I'll try to link some resources down below, but I don't have great pictures of the menu and I can't remember everything and it changes quite frequently, I believe. So but Animator's Palette is a like artwork inspired restaurant, but it also features Crush from Finding Nemo and other Disney characters. If you're sitting near a screen, Crush can come up and like talk to you, which I talked to him, which was fun. But just there's like other things to like keep you entertained, and that was our last night. But it was fun, and I thought there was like a little bit of a show, but I don't think there is for a 3-night or 4-night cruise. I think Animator's Palette is on all of the Disney ships, and when you go on a week-long cruise, there is something special that happens. I thought you got like a little snippet of that, but you didn't, but that's okay because talking to Crush was really cool, and it was an entertaining meal to see like the kids interacting with it and stuff. And there I had I'm a pescatarian, so I am a vegetarian, but I eat fish. But I believe I had a vegetarian meal. It was kind of like a parcel kind of like vegetables and stuff like that. It was a lot bigger than I thought it was going to be, and I don't really have good footage of the food, unfortunately. I think I was just like panning too quickly in the vlog, so I think I cut a lot of that out, which is really frustrating. But it was, so the last night of our cruise, when we were going back to port, we were booting it, and it was while we were at Animator's Palette that we started feeling the boat moving again. So by the end of the meal, like neither of us were really hungry, me or my husband. So I remember like it being really big, and yeah, I just couldn't eat a lot of it. But it was pretty good. So the next restaurant is Royal Palace. This was my favorite of the 3 dining rotations, and that was my favorite like meal. Oh my gosh, I can't remember what I got. So it's themed to like the princesses and like the royal princesses. It was a really nice restaurant. This was the 2nd night, so it was also pirate night. I was under the impression that there was a special pirate night menu, but we didn't get one. I don't know if like other people do or whatever. But we had like a salad. I think I had butternut squash ravioli, that's what I had. And then I had opera cake for dessert, which was like, I was so excited to see that on the menu. I was like 100% getting that. Opera cake, if you don't know what it is, it's a bunch of like very thin layers of cake with like chocolate and like ganache and like coffee, like buttercream and stuff like that. Oh my gosh, it's so good. I haven't had that since I made it in school, like really long time ago. And it had like gold leaf on it, and it was so fancy, and it was so good. I can't really remember what my husband got any night except for the first night, which is because we got the same thing. But as a vegetarian, like, I did feel that there were options. I felt like I could have more because I do eat fish, but I wasn't ever worried about not finding anything to eat. So then the last main dining restaurant is Enchanted Garden. So this was the first night and neither of us were feeling well. So it was like we barely finished the meal. Like, we were struggling. So I didn't get to see a lot of it, or like I just like was not thinking about where I was, but it was like a palace, kind of like the Gardens of Versailles is supposed to be what it's themed, so you kind of like feel like you're outside even though you're inside, but we could definitely feel the boat. I think we had tomato basil soup, which I really liked, and then we both got like salmon. I think I had potatoes with it and my husband got rice with it, but again, neither of us were feeling well that we did not finish it, and we didn't get dessert. We were like, our like dining staff was really understanding, and they like gave Ethan apples to try and make him feel better. Like, they were really great about it. They checked on, like, that was the first night, so every night they were asking how we were feeling. Like, they were great like that, but yeah, the first night was just not great. There, so the salmon was on like kind of a lighter fare option on the menu, which they did have multiple every night, so there was probably like a chicken option, salmon, kind of in all three of the restaurants. So if you're looking for a lighter option, they do definitely have that. So the only thing at the main dining that you would be at an additional charge would be like any of the souvenir glasses for like kids and special drinks, and then alcohol. So I ended up getting a drink at Animator's Palette and Royal Palace. So that was like, they asked for my Key to the World card, they ran it, I signed for it, and got the drink. But again, my husband wasn't feeling great, so I think he had like one beer on the whole cruise, and that was like before we even left. So but yeah, so those are the main dining options. Next is the casual dining. So the first is Cabanas. That is the buffet. I did mention something in my like what I wish I knew on my first Disney cruise. I'll put a link to that video up there, but basically like Cabanas, it is kind of like a U shape, but like make sure to walk all the way around it because there are different options depending on the different side, which we didn't know. So make sure, but there's lots of options there. There's like carving station, sushi, there's like pizza, salad bar, all these different things. Next, there's a Flo's Cafe. So I think it's at the other end of the ship. There's little like kind of takeout windows. So there's things like burgers, chicken, pizza, salads, and sandwiches. We like walked around that multiple times and we were like, is this included? It is. And we were like, we should get something, but then we just didn't end up doing that. Frozone Treats is like a smoothie bar kind of thing. Smoothie window, those are at an additional cost. And probably the highlight of the cruise, ice cream. The Mike Wazowski themed ice cream station. I don't even know how many ice cream cones I had. And pretty much every time I walked by it, I was like, oh, I'm gonna get some ice cream. Favorite part. I love it. Let me know if you feel me on that. Okay, next, the adult only options. So on the Disney Dream and the Disney Fantasy, there are two adult only options, Palo and Remy. Both of them come at an additional cost. Palo is the less expensive one, which is around $40–45 per person, and then Remy is more expensive. I can't remember exactly, so I'll put it in here. Palo is also, there's also a brunch, so if you're on like the 3-night that you're not going to have an extra night, like that you still want to go to all the main dining rotation, that you don't want to like take away from one of the other restaurants, you could try and get the brunch on a 3-night cruise. They've started doing it on the day that you're docked in Nassau, so that was the second day for us, but it was full and we were on the wait list and we didn't get to do it. So that's like one thing that I kind of wish I could have done, but that's okay. Again, like we were kind of trying to do it cheap, that having to pay for a meal when all of the other food is included, like we were like, that's okay. And then Remy is more of an experience, like very fine dining, like artwork that you're eating kind of thing. So it's much more expensive, but it's just for dinner. So if you are you make the reservation for that in advance, and then I think you'll get like a reminder card on your fish extender before you go. But from what I've seen, it looks really good. I've heard really good things about them. I've heard really good things about the Palo brunch, and maybe one day we will experience them. Okay, now for the other options. So there is room service on the ships that is included. The only thing that you have to pay for is a tip, which is kind of expected, but you can get, like, there's a menu in the room, you can get a lot of food from room service. That was one thing that I kind of wanted to do, just like to be able to say that we did room service, but we didn't end up doing it, and that's fine. But like, we had an inside stateroom, so like it wasn't like we were like, oh, let's eat on our balcony. We were like, no, we're inside. So we chose to eat at the other decks. Oh, one other thing is the main dining rotations. Check the navigator, and usually one restaurant is open for breakfast and lunch. So if you want to eat at one of the restaurants again, but for breakfast or lunch, you can do that and it's still included. Next is Vanellope Sweets and Treats. So this is another little shop that has like ice cream and like candy and cupcakes and like a whole lot of stuff. Definitely take a walk through there even if you don't buy anything, but anything there is an additional cost. Next is Senses Juice Bar. So Senses is the spa, and so there's a juice bar that's there, so anything that you get there would be at an additional cost. Preludes is the little booth that's beside the theaters, so any of the popcorn, alcohol, pops, anything like that would be at an additional cost. And then also when you're in the shows, if you want to know more about the Disney shows, I'll put a link to that video up there. But if you're in the theater, there are people walking around like trying to sell the popcorn buckets and stuff, so don't think that you have to get it from the window. You can get it delivered to your seat. But there's that. And then there is another experience called the Royal Court Royalty. So this is mostly for kids. It's quite expensive. I looked at the prices when I was getting information for this video and I was like, whew. But it's like a character experience, a like high tea kind of thing that it sounds like it'd be interesting, but you're probably gonna pay a pretty penny for it. So that is it for dining on the Disney Dream. There are additionally, like, there's like pub and there's like late night spreads and stuff like that, but this is like pretty much like where you can go to eat. I think that the food was pretty good on the cruise. Like, it's hard because they're making food for like so many people, but if I like think of one meal that I really enjoyed, it was the dinner at Royal Palace, like by far. Not that the other meals weren't good, but like we weren't feeling great and it just kind of puts a damper on everything. And then like the one breakfast we ate at Cabanas, like we were running the 5K and I'm like super paranoid, so I like didn't want to eat a lot. And basically I was just eating ice cream the whole time, okay? So if you guys have any questions, make sure to let me know in the comments down below. If you've been on the Disney Dream, where was your favorite place to eat? And ice cream is totally an acceptable response. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. There will be more coming up later on my channel with must-dos for the Disney cruise and your guide to Castaway Cay. So make sure to subscribe so you will be notified when that is up, and give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.